What up? What up? We back again, back in the building, Fly Free Sports. Here for this this UFC Freedom 250 recap. Meant to do it yesterday, but didn't get the time to, obviously. But I'm gonna run down, of course, I'm gonna run down all the fights top to bottom. I'm gonna start at the top with the main event and work my way down. And obviously speak on the event in itself and all the things that went along with the event, the controversy, the all the shit. I'm gonna run all that down here. So lock in with me. Starting at the top of the card, Ilya Taporia versus Justin Gaethje. Man, I mean, what can you really say? It was the upset of all upsets, one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Some might say. I think I'll say the same. Just the trajectory of the careers, when you add all that in, fight styles, uh, confidence levels. Not to say Justin Gaethje wasn't confident coming in, because he obviously was, but just that unshakable confidence that Ilya Taporia has coming into this fight against Justin Gaethje, who's on the backside of his career. Justin Gaethje's still a very very good fighter, but he's on the backside of his career. So everybody was fully expecting Ilya Taporia to win. Obviously, that did not happen. I think there were a lot of reasons for that, man. I think first and foremost, Ilya just didn't seem there completely. Whatever that was, came out early in the first round, did not work his jab really, and he was completely defensively irresponsible. I've never seen Ilya Taporia not moving his head off the center line. It came across like, I don't respect your power. I don't respect your technique and punching. I'm gonna walk through your shots, and eventually I'm gonna land the shot that puts you down in round one. That's really, really what it came off like with Ilya. And I think he was very, very surprised when he wasn't able to land as clean as he wanted to. And at the same time, he's taking punches. So that's never a good combination. It's never a good formula for success in a stand-up fight. And I'm sure Ilya Taporia knows that. He might have come in a little bit too overconfident. As crazy as that seems, we know Ilya Taporia. I've always said he's probably the most confident fighter I've ever seen in an octagon. So I think that really, really hurt him early on in the fight. He kind of settled in, you know what I'm saying? Like towards the end of round one, he kind of settled in and started landing some of the things that we know him for. I think Gaethje took it well. Round one ended with, Ilya having a little bit of momentum going into the second round. Round two came. Ilya really started opening up with his shots. Really, really started opening up, landing a ton of body shots. Even at one point in the round, put Justin Gaethje down. Some people have made the argument that he should have just ground and pounded him when he got him down, but he chose to go for a couple submissions that were unsuccessful. Justin Gaethje did a great job in his defense, his jiu-jitsu defense. He was able to stop the submissions in their tracks. And for whatever reason, man, after that grappling exchange that they had, it seemed like that took all the wind out of Ilya Taporia's sails. Like that seemed like that was the end of the fight for him for whatever reason. Because when round three started, they were standing in front of each other, and Ilya literally just stood there. I remember Cormier and Rogan on the broadcast were saying maybe he's, just he's tired. He's just trying to get a second win. And it very much came off like that. But the only problem is Justin Gaethje was a little bit fresher at that moment, and he took advantage, started really, really getting in, some very, very good shots. Um, they started adding up. That third round was terrible for Ilya. That was the end of the fight. For all intents and purposes, that was the end of the fight. It didn't end right there, but after that round and what the damage that started accumulating on his face even more, it was completely downhill from there. So round three, Justin Gaethje really just put it on him, man. It's really not much to say. He really put it on him in that round. Now, the interesting thing is after that round, the doctor was trying to stop the fight after the third round. Ilya Taporia was clearly pleading like, no, I still want to fight. let me get this round in. The ref stepped in and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you a chance, but you got to defend yourself." Ilya said, "Okay." Boom. They went out to the fourth round, and honestly, Ilya Taporia equipped himself very well in that fourth round, man. Like he really, really looked like he kind of got a second win. You know what I mean? I think it was a very, very close round to where he ended up in a mount at one point. It was crazy. So um that round to me, it could have went either way, and that would have made it 2-2 because round one was it was a close round, but I gave it to Gaethje. Round two went to Ilya easily. I think round three was Gaethje easily, so it was 2-1. And then round four, like I said, Ilya really fought a pretty good round in round four, which is crazy after what happened in round three. And it could have either been 3-1, 2-2, depending on how you scored. I would have to watch the fight. I would have to actually watch that round specifically again. To see which way I have it. Because it's always different when you watch it back the second time. So I have to look at it and see. But it could have been possibly 2-2 going into the fifth. But of course, after the fourth round, they stopped the fight. His corner stopped the fight. I don't know, there's kind of multiple stories. Some people say his brother stopped it. Some people say the other guy in the corner stopped it and his brother was trying to keep it going. My understanding was that his brother was trying to let him keep fighting, but he was kind of overruled, and just for Ilya's health moving forward because his orbital bone is obviously broken. It looked pretty bad. So you just never know. You could be saving some years on his career by just stopping the fight that he's obviously he well not obviously down in because like I said it could have been tied, but a fight that would have been an uphill battle for him to win. Who knows what could have happened in that fifth round? We don't know, and we'll never know because the fight was called off then. And Justin Gaethje, with the upset of all upsets on the White House lawn, I mean, anybody who's been watching MMA for the longest, man, knows Justin Gaethje, knows how game he is. Now, honestly, I'm gonna be real, bro. I didn't give Justin Gaethje a chance, much like a lot of people didn't. So I don't really feel bad. But if you know Justin Gaethje, he's a savvy veteran, has been in there with the who's who, man. Like he's been in there with everybody. I don't need to list the names. All the guys that he's been in there with, all the guys he's had wars with, all the guys that he beat, all the guys that he lost to. So that experience is super, super duper invaluable. And he just caught Taporia what I feel like. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. What I feel like was just a bad night and a bad game plan for Ilya Taporia. Like that's just like if you asked me to bet on that fight tomorrow with them back being fresh, all things 100%, and Ilya learning from this experience, I bet Ilya Taporia again. And I'm sure if this fight ever happens again, Ilya will probably be the favorite. But man, big congratulations to Justin Gaethje. He fought a great fight, showed tremendous heart by staying in there after all those body shots in the second round. No, no, I don't think anybody else in that division would have been able to withstand those shots that Ilya landed on his body. And just a competitor, man, flawless, much fucking power in his hands. Just an extreme athlete. The kind of athlete Justin Gaethje is. His motherfucker flips backwards off the octagon. I mean, just superb, man. Superb performance by Justin Gaethje, doing it for his country. It was crazy. It felt like to me, like on the walkouts, I felt like Gaethje was going to win. Like he was standing there with the flag in the Oval Office and looking at the Constitution and all that shit. Like when he was standing with the flag wrapped around, I was like, yo, this feels like one of those American stories, bro. Like it just felt that way on the walkout. I kind of just put it off to the side, like I'm tripping, but I felt it though. I felt it on the walkout, and I'll be damned if it didn't happen, man. Shout out to Justin Gaethje. I'm intrigued to see what's next, what the matchmakers do for his next opponent. It should probably be Armin Sarukian, but they've been kind of giving Armin the stiff arm pause. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Congratulations to Justin Gaethje once again, and that's pretty much it for that fight, man. Shocked the world, bro. Man, this is a fight that I'm impressed with myself for calling. Not that I don't know, I was the only one that called it because y'all saw the preview with me, Thomas, and Amani. We all picked Cyril Gahn to beat Alex Pereira. It was just one of those fights, man. it played out pretty much the way I thought it would. Cyril Gahn is not gonna be scared of Pereira's pressure. Pereira did land, he did land a couple times. He got off a little bit, but you could just tell the footwork. Um, Cyril Gahn was just in control of the fight, man. You could just tell. You could just tell. Even in the first round, Pereira had a little bit of success at the end. I think he landed like something big at the end of the first round, but that was pretty much it offensively for Alex Pereira. Cyril Gahn, excellent footwork. Finally landed that big shot, and he kind of just poured it on until the ref stopped the fight. Um, and that was pretty much it, man. Alex Pereira was attempting history of being the first three division champion in UFC history. Obviously, fell short of that goal, but it's all good, man. Alex Pereira is still one of the premier fighters in the UFC, still a star. You know what I mean? He's gonna be all right. Now the question is, does he go back to light heavyweight or does he try to find a better matchup for himself at heavyweight? Because I don't think this was the proper introduction to heavyweight for Alex Pereira. Like that's a tough matchup. Cyril Gahn is not he's not a sitting duck. You know what I mean? Not saying that he just needs a complete sitting duck to punch on, but Cyril Gahn is athletically superior to him. And it's hard when a guy is bigger than you and he's more athletic than you. And this is your first time in that weight class. So I thought that was a very, very uphill battle. And it turned out to be right. So shout out to Cyril Gahn. You know what I mean? He gets a lot of flack too for being a guy who they say he fights dirty. They say he fights dirty, with the eye poke against Tom Aspinall. They're saying he punched Pereira in the back of the head a few times in this one, but I mean, the fight is moving so fast. I didn't really see anything too egregious. I thought he won fair and square, man. It was his night, man. It was his night. Shout out to him. Shout out to France. You know what I mean? They got a champion. Um, yeah, man. That's pretty much it for that fight. Next we got, oh yeah, man. Y'all know what time it is, bro. Sugar Show. My boy Sean O'Malley, man. Suge put on a pretty good performance. You can kind of tell, like, you can kind of tell, like, when the fight started, he knew immediately that he was going to be able to land a shot at some point. Just feeling him out. Zahabi has very very weird movement. Like it's almost like a timid type of. I don't know if it's because he never been in there with somebody as fast. I mean, like from a quick standpoint. Sean O'Malley is extremely quick, man. I mean, like with his feints in and out, dancing, boom, boom, boom. Like not even so much the hands, you know what I mean? Like when the hands come out, they're quick too as well. But he does a lot of feinting and a lot of setting things up that I think it shocks most fighters when they get across from him. And you add that with his range, it's very, very hard to fight somebody like that. So Zahabi came out implementing the leg kicks, trying to get the leg kicks was he was pretty successful. Like I think at a point in time they read the stats and it was like 22 out of 26 leg kicks he had landed up until that point. So he was effective with it, but he never landed anything big to the point where you thought Sean O'Malley was in trouble. So, you get to round two, a little bit more of the same. And finally Sean opened up with a little straight left, boom, puts him down. Zahabi tries to get back to his feet, he follows up with the right, sends him down, and one of the coolest knockouts of the year. As Zahabi's falling, Sugar Sean salutes the crowd at the White House. I mean, that shit is probably gonna live forever, man. You know what I mean? Just the scenery of it. You're saluting at the White House to the whole bunch of troops in the crowd, and you're knocking out somebody who's Canadian. I mean, that's gonna live. That's gonna live a long time. And he said he planned it, so that was pretty cool too. To be able to plan something like that and actually execute it on another elite. I don't want to call Zahabi elite, but a very, very good fighter in your division. Zahabi's still top five, I believe. I think he was ranked like fifth. So super impressive by Suge, man. Suge is my favorite fighter, as everybody knows. So shit made me happy. You know what I mean? Like for the rest of the night, I was good. You know what I mean? I wanted to see Ilya win too, but Suge winning in that fashion is enough for me. Now, hopefully next we get the Peter Yan rematch. You know what I mean? He already beat Yan once, and this time would be for the strap, man. So I'm super excited to see what's next. Hopefully the matchmakers make that fight. If not, let Murad fight Yan again, and we'll see where things go from there in the division. But shout out to Suge, man. Keep doing your motherfucking thing. All the Red Hawk killers, man. Got Tommy McMillan coming up next month. About to take somebody's head off again. You know how we do down at Red Hawk. You know what I mean? Red Hawk stand up. Shout out to Coach Tim. Shout out to Brandon Harris. Shout out to Tenquinho. Shout out to all the guys in the corner, man. Ezra Elliott, shout out to you. I want to see you on the contender series soon, man. Shout out to all my guys down there at Red Hawk, man. All the young guys, JoJo, Jonathan Davidson, all the guys, man. All the guys. Y'all know who y'all are. I don't got to mention everybody, but yeah, shout out to all y'all. Who we got next? Man, this idiot. Now, Josh Hokett versus Derek Lewis really, really went the way most people expect. I think 95% of people were saying that Josh Hokett was going to win. He's the younger fighter. He's faster. He's just got more in the tank. He's more motivated. He's hungry. You know, he's still young in the sport, trying to, you know, climb the ranks. Derek Lewis is the opposite. On the back end of his career, he is probably still the most powerful guy in the division because he's the career leader in knockouts in UFC history. So he has that under his belt. But Derek Lewis is in his 40s now, bro. Like there's not a lot of motivation left for Derek Lewis. So I mean, I really didn't expect him to come out and put on a world-class performance. The fight really went exactly how I thought it would. And then, you know, Josh Hokett tops off his KO win with the type of shit that makes people from the outside looking in at MMA and the UFC as a whole, and it makes it just look like some bullshit, you know what I mean, for lack of a better word. Nobody really, this is the thing I don't like about it. There's a lot of fighters, right, in the UFC that really ain't feeling Josh Hokett. Like there's a lot of people in general, like around the sport, that just they're not feeling Josh Hokett. But what the outside people that don't watch MMA would do is they would take somebody like Josh Hokett and like place him as the figurehead now, because this is what symbolizes the UFC. This is what the UFC is all about. You know what I mean? Like they'll take a motherfucker like that people in the sport are, you know, skeptical of. They'll take a guy like that and then try to make him be like the face. Oh, look, this is the type of shit that they do in this sport and in this organization, when it's not the truth, bro. Like, so I think that was like the one stain on the event. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, he was like Michelle Obama is a man. You know, he called Michelle Obama a man at the White House, no less. So, I mean, I knew immediately like that was going to kick off a shitstorm the next day. Everybody was going to be up in arms. But the UFC and MMA fan in me was like, this motherfucker says crazy shit all the time. Like, but you wouldn't know that if you don't watch this shit. Like, you don't know that this fucking idiot says wild shit. Like he always says crazy shit. Like, so you wouldn't know that as an outsider, but that's gonna be your thought on the event and on all the fighters that have worked fucking tirelessly to get to this position in their life to where they're fighting at the White House. It's still the White House, bro. Like, this is an honor for those guys that have, you know, had blood, sweat, and tears their entire career and finally made it to that point. So for them to be ostracized in the way that people are, you know, kind of lumping them in with Josh Hokett, excuse me, Josh Hokett, is kind of unfair. So I just wanted to say that shit about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Josh Hokett and Derek Lewis fight. Josh Hokett with the win, and he'll probably get a top 5 guy after that again. Mauricio Hoofy against Michael Chandler. I think this was a fight that shouldn't even have been made. Michael Chandler's 40 years old. We've seen this motherfucker dog walk by all the top guys in his division. We've seen him get his ass whooped, man. Like, but I think the thought process of Dana White and the matchmakers is Michael Chandler is going to bring fireworks. He's going to press the pace. He's gonna throw caution to the wind. He's gonna do all the things that people, once again, from the outside want to see as spectators. Like, he's gonna make this shit a bar fight. He's gonna make it crazy. He's gonna make it exciting on the losing end of it. You know what I mean? Every single time. So coming into this fight, you knew a sniper like Hoofy, if it's a certain amount of time until he catches Chandler, and this is exactly how it played out, man. He gave Chandler some wicked shots before the ref stopped it, before the ref stepped in and stopped it, bro. Like that shit went exactly, another fight went exactly how I thought it would. All these fights went pretty much exactly how I thought they would. I got all the fights right. I predicted all of them right except Ilya Taporia. Now I didn't get the method of victory right on all of them, but all the winners, yeah. And Hoofy was no exception, man. He should have been the biggest favorite on the card. That was a super duper mismatch. Chandler tried to do certain things here and there to throw him off. He tried to feint takedowns and come with an overhand and just slick little vet tricks that weren't going to work on a tactician like Hoofy from the stand up position. Like it's just not going to happen. So Hoofy, he put him down. He put him down like he was supposed to, man. He been out there training with Volt. So he left the fighting nerds and started training with Volt, and we'll see. We can't even use this fight as a barometer of the training because he really was not tested in any kind of way for Michael Chandler. Like we have to wait to see Hoofy fight somebody more elite to see the progress from that BSD fight that he lost to now. So hopefully they'll get him back in there with somebody who's on his level or higher, just so we can see the progress of him training with Volt. But great win by Hoofy, man. He did what he's supposed to do, man. He gave honor to Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? So that's always a great thing. Um, we Yeah, man. Great night for Hoofy, man. Got engaged. You know what I mean? He asked his lady to marry him in the cage and all that. So that was pretty cool. Little side story. Proposed to your girl at the White House. It's pretty cool. Next fight. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. It really much didn't go on. You know what I mean? It kind of just Bo Nickel, he was on top for a while. Ref ended up standing him up after a while. I guess not enough action. We're at the White House. Come on, fellas, let's pick this up. So the ref stood him up. You know what I mean? Eventually, Bo Nickel catches him, boom, puts him down, and that's pretty much it. We didn't really, like I said, another fight. We really didn't learn anything. Bo Nickel was supposed to beat Kyle Dawkins, so we didn't really learn anything. He's not in there with an RDR type of fighter that he lost to, or or anybody more skilled. It's just kind of like one of those fights to kind of stabilize him. Even though he is coming off a win, I think he won his last fight after the RDR fight too. So he's on a two fight winning streak. So we'll see where Bo Nickel goes next. Hopefully they give him somebody who's same situation with Roofy. I think hopefully they give him somebody who is of caliber and can challenge him and make him tap in for real. But shout out to Bo Nickel. He did what he's supposed to do, man. I know a lot of people in this country are big fans of Bo Nickel because of his wrestling credentials. Amani mentioned it, 3-time NCAA champion Bo Nickel, man. Like a lot of people in the wrestling world, they look up to Bo Nickel because he's that guy, bro. So shout out to him. Big win at the White House. I'm sure he'll go on to do pretty good things in the sport. Last but not least, Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia. Garcia looked really, really good to start this fight. Like it got to a point where we were like, okay, it felt like Lopez was waiting and he was looking for openings, but Garcia was piecing him up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like it wasn't bad, but it looked like he was really in control of the fight from a stand-up standpoint. So Garcia was implementing all the jabs, fighting him from range, doing all the things, doing everything right. And eventually Lopez caught him. Eventually he caught him, man. Diego Lopez is like that though, bro. Like coming into the fight, I said on the preview video, he's been in there with more experienced guys. Like he's been in there with killers, bro. Like so, you're not gonna deter Diego Lopez with a few shots to the chin, bro. He has an excellent chin. He's an excellent counter striker. He's a very good striker. Um, Lopez will bang, bro. He will bang. I've seen him bang with John Silva. When I saw that shit, I was like, yeah, let's do the bang, bro. Because John Silva has super power in his hands. If you could bang with a guy like John Silva, you could bang with anybody in that weight class. This is as simple as that, bro. So I kind of figure that dog would lead him to a victory. That dog in him, bro. Like he just got dog in him. That's Diego Lopez to a T, man. I love that guy's fight game. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. Just always puts on the show, man. Like except for the Volk fights. I don't know. Maybe Volk is just that much more over the rest of the guys in the division because I don't think anybody else in that division is better than Diego Lopez, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anybody else at 145 is better than him. You could go down the list of all the guys at 145. I don't think they're better than Diego Lopez. All the whole top 10, bro. Like so, I don't know. I don't know what the UFC is gonna do. Maybe they give Aljo the title shot, or Aljo or Evloev. One of them. Maybe I think Evloev gets the next shot because he actually beat Aljo. So, but Aljo's very close. You know what I mean? Maybe they make Diego Lopez versus Aljo. I don't know stylistically how that works for the UFC, but I think that'd be a great fight. Aljo looked damn good in his last fight. So he's coming off a big win. And to be honest with you, bro, like I think Aljo beat Evloev when they fought, bro. I really thought he got robbed. So if you want to be technical, bro, I think Aljo should be the next guy to fight Volk. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. You know what I mean? Because I'm looking back to the Evloev fight, bro. And maybe I have to watch it again. But from what I remember of it, like I remember Aljo winning that fight and they give it to Evloev. But I don't know, man. I think it's getting interesting at 145. We'll see though. We'll see what happens, man. But Diego Lopez with the win at the White House, and yeah, that was pretty much it, bro. The car was amazing. All the visuals, the production, the way they set things up on the lawn, the cage, the claw, the structure, the walkouts were fire, the angles were fire. How they did, with the first responders in the military, all that shit was great. The live band was fire. I thought the live entrances, some guys didn't use it, other guys did, but I thought that was a great twist onto the event. Um, just a great card, man. Dana White, I know, they asked him would he ever do it again. He said no because the UFC had to foot that bill, man. He was like, yeah, we can't afford to do this again. And I've been hearing a lot of idiots saying, oh, the taxpayers pay for this type of shit. People shitting on the event, bro. Like come on, bro. Like the taxpayers did not pay for that event. The UFC had to come out of their pocket, which is why Dana's like, look, I can't take this type of hit again. So we will never do this shit again. Like, I think it was good for the UFC from a promotional standpoint. To have Donald Trump involved in it, I mean, that's gonna bring eyeballs. Like Dana White is a smart businessman, bro. Despite whatever you think of him, you know what I mean, whether you're a fan of him personally or not, or whatever. There's a lot of people that don't fuck with Dana White. However you feel about him, dude is a sharp businessman, bro. He didn't get this far by being stupid, man. So I think he did this shit for big promotional purposes and to get eyes on the sport, man. Like you have to. It's just one of those things with business, bro. Sometimes you got to take a loss, monetarily to gain. You know what I mean? And I think they did an excellent job at that. Trump, he had his hand in it, of course, because Trump is a UFC fan. Trump is at a lot of the big time cards that the UFC has. So I guess he just had the idea, like, fuck it, like it's my birthday, shit. Bring the UFC to the White House. Man, I didn't see shit wrong with it, but they try to make it seem like this is the most, like fighting is just so beneath the country. Like we go to war and do all type of shit. You know what I mean? Like motherfuckers, this country was built off violence, bro, and war and fucking chaos, bro. Like so, why the fuck is a sanctioned UFC fight frowned upon? This is not, the UFC. It's a dangerous sport, but it's not life and death. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a sanctioned event that they put on in every state. So I'm trying to figure out where the disconnect is coming from with the people when they let shit like the pride shit go on the fucking White House lawn some years ago under Biden. You know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't even hear about that shit when it happened, bro. Which is crazy. Like you didn't hear anything nationally about people talking down on the pride event at the White House, but as soon as somebody wants to throw a fight on the White House lawn, then it's a fucking problem. I don't understand it, bro. You know, they promote sexual perversion, and that's cool, but you can't punch somebody in their face. But you can send somebody to war. You see what I'm saying? Like, make it make sense, bro. Like, y'all gotta make sense of this shit. Like, I think it's just a whole bunch of people that are completely uninterested in the sport and are uninterested in the UFC, just talking shit, just because they don't know what's going on, or they're not involved, or nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. Their opinion ain't valued. They can't stop the event because Trump is like really being gangster about this shit. Like, look, this event is going down. I heard it was a lawsuit that was filed to try to stop the event before it started. That shit obviously didn't work. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of people trying to be a part of the conversation that don't know what the fuck is going on. You know what I mean? So, and I knew it. Like when Josh Hokett made that remark, that stupid shit he said, I knew right off the rip, this is the shit that they're gonna use to be like, I told you. They shouldn't have let this shit go down. Some motherfucker who's been, he just came on the scene not too long ago. We just getting used to this nigga and all his weird shit. Like he be at press conferences saying all type of wild, weird, corny ass shit. But like they look at that nigga and they look at what he did as like the face of what the UFC is all about. And if you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? Like you don't watch the sport, you don't know. But you got to do your research, bro, before you get out here talking crazy and know what the fuck you talking about. That's just my take on it, bro. But overall, like I said, the event was spectacular, man. Very, very dope. You know what I mean? It was a one-off, just like the spear. The sphere. It was a one-off. Um, they will never go back to the White House again. And I'm kind of glad, man, just for the fighters, bro, because I'm pretty sure they were inconvenienced in some kind of ways. You know what I mean? They're not used to really fighting outside. And I know they fight, they're professionals, they can handle it, but it's just like I would rather see these guys as comfortable as they could be in arenas and shit like that so they can perform at their best. You know what I mean? That's just a preference for me. But the event was fire though. I'm not putting down the event at all. Like I thought the shit was fire and it was a good honor. It was good privilege for those guys to be able to fight there. And yeah, bro. So UFC Freedom 250 was a success. I'm gonna start doing these reviews with me, Thomas and Amani will be back to do them. You know what I mean? My guys, shout out to them too. Yeah, and we're gonna do this 329, bro, coming up. All three of us will be here. We're gonna be breaking down Patty and BSD, fucking Connor Max. I know there's a few fights on that card that's bangers. I know Brandon Roy Val's on the card. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's some bangers on that card that we're gonna tap into. And it's gonna be an experience, bro. So tap in, Fly Free Sports. I am Fly Free CT signing off. I'm out.